Hello everyone, Shroomraver here, and today we are back with the second part of this sort of little mini tribute to a great team session. Yes, indeed. We are looking again at that wonderful 5 guys in the Gigalith team from MBZ, which I mentioned in the last video. Links to him down in the description as always. So last time we looked at the team itself, and I should say as a caveat, I did mess up a little bit by keeping on saying that it's a Gen 4 team. It's not, it's a Gen 5 team. I went like massively wrong because Gigalith is a Gen 5 Pokemon. Like, that's just what it is. I tend to get Gen 4 and 5 a little bit mixed up just in terms of like thinking that X and Y, not X and Y, are black and white are part of Gen 4 when they're not. That's on me, that's my bad. But yeah, it's a Gen 5 team. Still 3 gens in the past, of course, but we're going to be looking at a sort of slightly modernised take on it because, you know, while the general practice of the team does work still on paper and indeed in a few battles, it does suffer a little bit through lack of some moves. So we're just going to sort of bring it into the present day a little bit with this Gen 7 version. So I've got it on the screen here, but I'm looking there. Let's have a look at the team we're going to be working with. The names are sort of little tributes in their own way. First up, we have Regirock. A lot of options to replace Gigalith. Regirock to me seemed the best. It's better in most ways. In fact, in pretty much every way that matters. That massive 200 base physical defense. The special defense is better as well. The attack itself, I think, better too. Could be wrong on that, don't quote me. Exactly the same moveset though. Stealth Rock, Toxic, Rock Slide and Earthquake, and it does exactly the same job as Potato did, so there's Parsnip the Regirock. Next up we have Diggersby in replacing Azumarill. We've lost the typing, the water typing, and that is going to play into things a little bit. But basically it's a rabbit with huge power, so doing the same job. It's still got that powerful return and the powerful stab priority and quick attack of same base power. It gets dual stab, unlike the Azumarill we were working with, in the fact it gets Earthquake, and we do have the updated knockoff as well, which is quite nice. Now, in practice, we probably should have had U-turn on there, because if there's one thing this team really does want, it's slow initiative gaining. But I want knockoff instead, because, you know, knock off all the things. So there's fantastic replacing, incredible. Next up, the only logical replacement for Hitmonchan, Hitmonlee. I will kick you becomes I will punch you. Nice little thing there. We've still got Life Orb. We've got a high jump kick, Mac Punch for that priority again. Knockoff is on there too. And the beauty of Hitmonlee, we are sacrificing the Volt Beam coverage, which is of course super good, it always has been. But we do get Poison Jab on there, so that it's a little bit better prepared against the fairies of this generation. Then of course we have Nidoking's counterpart, Nidoqueen. Kong, you know, we had Nidoking that goes to Kong, so we've got Nidoqueen that goes to Quoon. Again, it's a speedy Life Orb Sheer Force set. Earth Power, Sludge Wave, Ice Beam and Fire Blast. We are sacrificing having electric coverage. The thing about the Nidoking is, back in the day, it didn't really need poison coverage at all. There were no fairies, of course, and poison coverage back then wasn't actually all that great. Especially when you've got a Pokemon like Nidoking who had so much massive coverage anyway. You know, Poison, useful for the grass types, but it already had Fire Blast, so it didn't really need that coverage. Nidoqueen in this generation does. It really profits from having Poison Stab again for those fairies that are all over the place. Then we have Arcanine's replacement, which is going to be Entei. Mukboss turns into Mixie-Ow. We've got another Life Orb set. You don't see Life Orb Entei all that often, but Life Orb Entei here is really good. It's got Sacred Fire, replacing Flare Blitz. Extreme Speed is still there. It does, of course, get the ground coverage that Arcanine so desperately really wants in the form of Stomping Tantrum. And again, the fairies are a problem, so we don't have close combat. We don't, again, have the electric coverage. We have Iron Head instead. You're forced to run Adamant to run Extreme Speed, which is great, because, again, with the Extreme Speed, it doesn't really need the speed boost to make it jolly. You often see Adamant Enteis anyway, because they're usually running Extreme Speed. So yeah, this thing hits really hard. Finally, we have the fucking dude. If there was ever going to be a replacement for Ninjask, it's going to be Mega Beedrill. You know, it doesn't need the choice band, it can't run it anyway, but that adaptability on top of the base 150 attack is great. It's already very quick. Once again, we have knockoff on there, very useful, and we have drill run. Again, that ground coverage that Ninja so desperately wants. So yeah, that's going to be the team we're rocking with. I've got a lot of battles that I went in this team with. We've got 5 in total that we're going to look at, so this might be a bit of a longer video, but we're going to get into them and see how things played out for the updated team. So, once again, I'm looking at the camera here with my screen over here. We faced off against this team, which it looks like we could have quite a lot of fun with. You know, the slower things there are the bulkier ones. They've got those 3 starter Pokemon, Infinite, Greninja, and Sceptile. They're not particularly bulky. They're quick, but they're not particularly bulky. Crocodile is the problem here. Crocodile and Greninja. This team does not like ground, and it does not like water. But thankfully, we have super effective coverage in the form of that priority Mach Punch to take them on, so let's see how we do. Getting into the game, I start with my Beedrill as Snorlax starts for our opponent. I can get big damage with the U-turn, which is exactly what I'm going to do, and get in before the curses get too high with Diggersby. Now, Snorlax is going to not enjoy taking this hit at all. He knows this. He's going to go into his Gliscor. Return is going to do huge damage to the Gliscor, a clean 2-hit KO there. He's going to knock off my Choice Band, which actually might play into my advantage later, and Gliscor goes down to return. So now in comes Greninja. I'm going to sack off my Fantastic here with Quick Attack, but he actually goes to Dark Pulse, so I can get a second Quick Attack off. Very nice, as he takes me out once again with the Dark Pulse. Down goes Diggersby, and he's going to get his Battle Bond, but it doesn't matter, because his Water Shuriken is out-prioritized by Extreme Speed. Now he knows this. He's going to go into his Crocodile, the Extreme Speed, still doing a decent chunk to the Crook. I'm thinking he's probably Scarfed. He's going to go for Stone Edge on my switch into my Regirock. He confirms the choice item by switching into Sceptile. It's an opportunity for me to get my rocks up, which is lovely. And I'm going to go hard into my Entei here as Sceptile. I think I can tank it, but he actually goes to Swords Dance. But he doesn't want to stay in, thinking he can't take me out. He may not have the Earthquake. Snorlax is his switch, but it is, even through potential Thick Fat, going to be 2-hit KO'd by my Sacred Fire. So down goes Snorlax, a potential big threat, also neutralised. Now in comes the Crook. Again, fearing the Scarf, I'm going to switch out. I want to maintain Extreme Speed. I'm going to go into Regirock. An Earthquake, despite being that powerful, is still a 3-hit KO from that range, which is great because it's going to allow me to chip him down with Toxic. I probably should have gone for Earthquake, but I thought Toxic might be better in the long run. He's going to take me out with the Earthquake. Parsnip once again has done his job. And now I can pressure him hard with Hitmonlee's Mach Punch. He's going to sack off his Greninja, which is the right play to make in that regard. Mach Punch not going to do anything, and in comes the Infinite. Again, I want to maintain that Mach Punch priority, so I'm going to sack off Nidoqueen here. Flare Blitz is a clean 2-hit KO, but that residual recall damage is going to once again put him in range of my priority attacks. So Entei comes in here, and he's scared out. He's going to go into the Sceptile, but I predict his switch out wanting to maintain Infinite. I'm going to go for the Sacred Fire instead, and catch the Sceptile on the switch. Now in comes the Crocodile, and my play really here is to sack Mega B. I don't need it. These things both could potentially be Scarfed, and Mega B's not doing anything, and I have the priority to finish off this game. So, Hitmonlee's going to come in. He's actually going to make the switch into his Infinite. Mach Punch is not going to take him out, but he is going to be outsped on the next turn. Mach Punch will take him out from there, and now all he has left is this Crocodile, and despite the Intimidate, it's not going to matter because a Mach Punch will come through and take him out from there. Down he goes, and we do take the win. So priority coming through in a big way in that game. Good usage of saving it, I think, on my part. Even when Diggersby had his choice item knocked off, I was basically able to chip away at everything I needed to. Get rid of the Gliscor early, that was really useful. The Snorlax was good too, but I could have taken that on with Hitmonlee anyway. High Jump Kick would have done a huge amount of damage to it, and possibly Okoda even a +1 defense. But yeah, that's the first game, so let's get into the next one. So, here we have a team with Sticky Webs. Once again, this is not particularly too bad for me. Mega B doesn't mind about Sticky Webs too much. There's a lot of things it still outspeeds. And I have all that priority. So let's get right into the game and see how we did. Shuckle's going to be the lead as I go with my Regirock. Toxic on this thing's going to be useful. He's going to go to T-Tar as I get the Toxic. Now, I don't fear T-Tar at all with this team. He's going to go for a Dragon Dance first off the bat as I get my rocks up for that Zard. It's looking like they're there to stay. He's going to go for Earthquake. Even at +1, it's a 3-hit KO, so I can go for my own Earthquake. And with the combination of Toxic racking up on him and my massive monumental physical defense, I'm actually going to come through with this battle 1v1. He's going to go for Outrage for some reason, and Earthquake will take him out, passing it still a good amount of health. Now in comes the Shuckle. He's looking to try and get his hazards up, but it means I can get a Toxic off onto this guy very nicely. There are the rocks. Again, I don't mind about them too much. And I'm going to go for Rock Slide, which with the Toxic damage is going to be a 2-hit KO on the Shuckle as he gets his webs up. Again, not too much of a problem for me. Rock Slide will take out the Shuckle, and there goes his Shuckle. Another kill for Parsnip, which is cool. Now in comes the Venusaur. I'm ready to sack Regirock here, but he actually goes for Petal Blizzard, which I can tank, and Earthquake's going to come through for me. Now predicting another one of those, I'm going to go into my Beedrill. My opponent actually makes a very nice read here, or he just wanted to neutralise my Regirock for a while and goes for Sleep Powder. But once again, I don't fear the Venusaur. He's clearly not Mega, so I'm going to burn a turn of Sleep as he predicts my switch and goes for Toxic, which I'm not in for. I'm burning Sleep turns here. He's going to go for the Leech Seed, just to try and sap my health even more, so he can't touch me. Here is where he's going to switch out, and he's going to go into his Gengar, as I maintain my sleep. And the Gengar is a weird set for him here. He's going to go for Ice Punch, which is an interesting call. I actually wake up, I'm going to go for the knockoff and get rid of that Gengar straight off the bat. So we're looking good here at 6-3. In comes the Charizard. I'm ready to stay in here. Beedrill isn't really doing all that much more, and I fancy my chances against the rest of his team. Entei can come in here. Clearly I think he thinks I can't touch him, so he's going to go for a Dragon Dance, which isn't the play because I do pack the Stomping Tantrum. That'll take out the Zard and down it goes. So all he has left is Sylveon and Venusaur, but Sylveon's going to go down to an Iron Head straight off the bat. And now all he has is the Venusaur, which again, I am going to outspeed, go for the Sacred Fire, and take down the Venusaur. So, second battle done, Entei really coming through. This is what Arcanine used to do. He was the janitorial kingpin. He used to sweep up at the end quite a lot, occasionally leaving one victim for Ninjask's, what's it called, Giga Impact. But the new janitorial kingpin here, McSeeow, is going to clean up the game. So, a lovely little showing for Entei there, and we'll move on to the next battle. So, third battle up here, we have a bit of a weirder team with Dusknoir and the Alolan Persian. The Alolan Muck is there too. So, getting into the battle, I'm going to start with my Regirock. He's going to go with his Alolan Persian. He's going to get out of there with a parting shot, which is fine. He goes straight into his Zygarde, very offensive switch, as I'm going to go for a Toxic, which is very nice for me. Now, the Thousand Arrows is going to come in here and not be a 2-hit KO, which is great because it allows me to get my own rocks up. So he's going to maintain his presence here, going for the Thousand Arrows as I go for an Earthquake. But what he's going to do here is want to maintain his Zygarde, thinking I'm going to try and take him out. He's clearly going to try and get rid of the rocks with Zapdos, so I predict that switch nicely, get a Toxic on the Zapdos, which is super useful. A Toxic Zapdos is good for me. He's going to go for Defog. Again, I do see that coming. I'm going to get my rocks up once more. And here, I'm going to try and get a little bit more chip damage. He's going to go for the Defog once again, as I go for the Rock Slide, really taking down that Zapdos quite far. Now here, he's going to pull a switch back into his Zygarde as I get my rocks back up. So here, Zapdos is dead on switching. The Zygarde is going to go for 1,000 Arrows and not take me down. Regirock is going to be able to pick him off with an Earthquake very nicely indeed. So now, weirdly, he goes into the Zapdos once again to just let it go down, and then in comes the Alolan Persian, who's going to go for the Taunt to stop me from getting a Toxic off onto him. That's okay. Regirock I've been sacking for the past, like, 4 turns. Foul Play can't take me out because I'm -1 attack with no investment. He's going to keep trying to go for it, and I'm just getting chip damage away at him with the Earthquake. Now here is where my Taunt's going to wear off, so he's going to Parting Shot, predicting me to try and go for a Toxic, maybe. He goes into the Dusknoir. I actually just go for the Earthquake here once again, as the Dusknoir comes in. Now, I can outspeed and go for a Toxic before he goes for Earthquake, but Regirock has basically crippled half his team and bamboozled him for 13 turns. In comes the Mega Bee. I'm going to go for a knockoff and overestimate my own power. He actually lives and takes me out with a Fire Punch. But that's fine, you know, his Dusknoir is going to go down. I bring in the Entei as he goes with his Alolan Persian, but realistically, he doesn't have anything that wants to take a Sacred Fire, even at -1. In comes the Muck. The Sacred Fire is going to do a clean 50% and get the burn. He is going to pop his Figgy Berry, which again is fine. Now here I do see the Recycle coming, so I have a free switch into my Diggersby. The Recycle, as I say, does come in. He's going to get it back, but it's not going to help because Earthquake will take him out from there. And at this point, he sees writing on the wall, he is going to forfeit. So, you know, while this team is based around offensive presence and pressure and a lot of priority, that's the kind of thing that a Regirock can do. Literally just sitting in there and getting its hazards up, chipping things down, getting rid of 2 very powerful offensive threats, and, you know, half damaging a third in order to set up for the rest of the team to come through. The forfeit comes in before I can take the game. But that's the third one. Let's move on to number 4. So here we have one of the biggest threats to my team, Mono Water. As you can see, my team really doesn't like water types, especially these very powerful ones, but there is ways of means of me taking these out. The Slowbro is a very potential threat to my team, and the Gyarados obviously if it can get set up, but he is packing webs, which again I think might be a bit of his downfall, because webs don't matter to me. So, getting into the game, I am going to lead with my Regirock, predicting his Araquanid lead. Rocks are my priority, he can't get rid of them, he's going to get his webs up. I Toxic, and he's going to go for a Liquidation, which, you know, it might be a 2-hit KO, it might not, depending on rolls. I do miss my Rock Slide here, which is unfortunate, but he gets the low roll on Liquidation, leaving me alive to get one more hit off on him with the Rock Slide, which I do, and to make up for that hacks in the beginning, he is going to flinch here. That means I can avoid risking the miss and just take him out with an Earthquake. Araquanid is down. So he is going to go into his Kingdra here. Regirock does nothing for the rest of this game, so I'm just going to let him go down to the Surf. Which is fine, I can bring in my Mega B, thinking I can take a special hit. He's actually going to go for the Draco, but again, I do live. My special defense isn't terrible, it's the physical side that Beedrill's weak on. U-turn does a lot and puts him in range of any priority I want to go for, but he sees it coming, and he's going to go into his Gyarados to get the Intimidate onto my quick attacking Diggersby, which still does a good chunk. Now he's going to pull a switch of his own into Slowbro here, as I go into my Entei. Entei again is not particularly useful in this match, so I'm going to go for the Extreme Speed, as he actually goes for the Iron Defense, and at this point I'm panicking a little bit. I go hard into Nidoqueen, very hard into Nidoqueen, as he actually goes for a Calm Mind with the Mega. Now I'm going to get as much damage as possible with Sludge Wave. He goes for the School, that is going to take me out from there, but Slowbro is too slow to outpace Mega B, even with webs, and at +2, doesn't matter, U-turn is going to take him out. So, big threat neutralized, I go back into Entei, it's my least useful thing here on the team, and Lantern is his option. I'm going to go for the Stomping Tantrum, outpace and do huge damage. He actually misplays here and sets up the stockpile, maybe thinking I might switch into the Mega B. But I'm going to be able to take him out with the following Stomping Tantrum, Lantern down before it can do any damage. Now in comes Greninja. I'm going to get damage with Extreme Speed, get the chip, and he takes me out with the Hydro Pump. He turns out to be Protean, so he's not Ash Greninja, which is good for me. He's Life Orb, and I can bring in Diggersby here, and just clean take him out with a Quick Attack. Down he goes, and now all he has left is Gyarados and Kingdra, but they're at such low health that Diggersby is going to be able to close out this game. Quick Attack will take out Gyarados even at -1, and of course the Kingdra isn't going to take the hit either. Down it goes, and that's going to be a win for us again. So yeah, Diggersby coming through at the end, showing the importance of maintaining that. Water is a massive problem for this team. I sort of lucked out possibly with some plays, but I think managed to play it fairly well as well. My screen's gone a bit black there, hopefully it didn't do too much bad things. But yes, that's the fourth game. We'll get into the final game and see how we did in that one. So here we have the final one, and we have one of this team's big weaknesses, Landorus Therian. Landorus Therian is a problem. The rest of the team actually not so much. The Sizzle can be if it manages to get set up. I don't have too much for it. I certainly don't. The only thing I really have is Entei. Greninja, as we've seen before, we can take out with priority. The Koko, I have the switch into Koko. Like Nidoqueen is the type of Koko switch in. The Raichu could be an issue, but I'm hoping that Diggersby can avoid letting it set up a nasty plot and at least tank one hit before taking it out. So that's the game plan. Let's get into the match. I'm going to lead off against this Landorus with my Beedrill. We get to see if it's Choice Scarfed here. As I Mega Up, we show that it isn't. It's looking like a very bulky set. And I go into Regirock on that basis. He gets his rocks up, but rocks on his side are far worse than him for rocks on mine, but I am going to try and chip him down with Toxic first, knowing that I can take 2 hits. And that's indeed what happens. I take 2 hits, get my Stealth Rocks up for that Charizard, and try and pressure the Defog from the Sizzle if he has it. Now, he's going to take me out, but that's absolutely fine. I can go into my Mega Beedrill. And again, I overestimate my own abilities. Poison Jab isn't going to take him out. He's actually going to go for the Explosion here. that would have killed so many Beedrills, but it's fine. Entei pressures him hugely here. The only thing that really wants to go in against it is the Greninja, but he actually goes with the Sizzle and just lets it go down to the Sacred Fire. So much of his priority is gone. Now in comes the Greninja. Now my play here is always going to be Extreme Speed, get as much damage as possible before he goes for the Hydro Pump, which is what he does. And he gets his Battle Bond in as well. But Hitmonlee can take the Water Shuriken. He actually doesn't bother going for it. I just go for the Mach Punch and take out the Greninja with Hitmonlee. Now in comes the Koko. I probably should have switched out here to maintain it, but Mach Punch wasn't doing too much against the rest of his team, so I let it go down, and now I go into the Koko. And Hidden Power from there is going to do 41%. It's not nearly enough. Sludge Wave will easily take out the Koko from there. Now in comes the Raichu. I don't want to let him set up a nasty plot, so he's forced to just go for the Psychic and take me out. Now it's Diggersby versus the world, and I have to lock in on Quick Attack. It doesn't kill the Raichu, but we do tank that Psychic. So Quick Attack takes out the Raichu, and now all he has is this Zard, which is going to take half from Rocks. Does he have any bulk investment on this Charizard? Don't know if it would matter anyway. Quick Attack will take out the Zard from there, and that's going to be another cleanup for Diggersby and another win. So that is the team in its essence. Now I showed you 5 matches there, all of which were victories, and you know, most confession time here, most of the matches I had with this team were wins. I think I had 15 matches in total with this team and won 12 of them. The team actually did really well. Now, it does have its pros and its cons. You know, if anything, we have a little bit more power in some of those priority moves than the original team, and certainly Mega B profits off being able to switch up its moves quite a lot, and it's only 25% weak to rocks and not 50 anymore. But again, there are downsides to the team. Losing a Azumarill means we lose anything we have for water types, and that's why that mono water type team we went up against was such a massive threat. We just played around it quite well. So water type attacks really hurt this team. Ground attacks as well. You know, much as with the previous incarnation, Earthquake spam is very much the way to go. I don't even have an immunity. Not to suggest that Ninjask was always going to be a switch-in, it's a risky one at best. But the likes of Nidoqueen adds a little bit more bulk to the team than Nidoking ever did. Although we do sort of lose that a little bit with the Hitmonlee switch over Hitmonchan. We lose some coverage. We lost a lot of electric coverage on the team through not particularly needing them anymore or not getting it. We do add the ever useful knockoff, and we add a lot more to deal with fairies. But there are definite ways that this team is better, and I think there are definite ways this team is worse. Which leads us to the final part of this little mini session, which will be the next video. Both the original incarnation and this one, as I say, have their pros and cons. So what we're going to try and do is get the best of both worlds. We're going to finish off this video here, and next time we're going to take some aspects of this team, we're going to take some aspects of the original 5 guys in the Gigalith, spice up those original aspects, bring them into the future, and, you know, generally making this team mesh as much as we can, and really optimizing all the sets that we can. But that is an episode for another time. I'm going to wrap things up here. Thank you all very much for watching. I do hope you've enjoyed. As with previous time, links down in the description to MBZ stuff, his podcast, This Nintendo Life, his YouTube, his Twitch, his Twitter. They'll all be in there, so make sure you go and check those stuff out. But I'm going to wrap things up. So my final thank you to you all for watching. And I guess with that, I'll see you next time. Laters.